All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, I've stated this over and over and over again, that there's such a thing as a great player, and then there's such a thing as a player with great talent. Russell Westbrook has great talent, but he's not a great player. There's only 4 truly great players in the NBA right now. There are some other players who are bubble great players, like Giannis Antetokounmpo, James Harden, so on and so forth. But there are only 4 truly great players in the NBA right now. That being LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard. Those are the 4 truly great players. Now, Kyrie, James Harden, Giannis Antetokounmpo, those are bubble great players. Joel Embiid as well. Maybe even a Ben Simmons, but he'd be on the farther reaches of that. But those are the guys who are, in my view, the bubble great players. But there are only 4 truly great players. Russell Westbrook at one time was considered possibly one of the top 3 to top 5 best players in the NBA. I never believed that. And now many of the top analysts and pundits who are involved with the NBA are finally starting to come around to what I've been saying for the last 3 years. That the brother is very talented. He's very gifted athletically. But when it comes to basketball IQ, he's severely lacking. One of those cats is Mr. Isiah Thomas, whose opinion I respect greatly when it comes to his analysis of the NBA, particularly everything aside from his personal antipathy for Michael Jordan. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
We got to get the birthday boys' take on something else here. So last week you were on Stephen A's radio show and had this to say about one Russell Westbrook. Take a listen.
You know, when we look at Westbrook, you know, we love his talent. We love the way he competes. But his maturity level and maturation level as a leader and also as a teammate and as a player has definitely been stifled. Westbrook has really stayed stuck on the...
You can see when Westbrook shoots the ball, the rotation on the basketball is a corkscrew. It's not a straight spin. It's supposed to spin straight in reverse. And when he shoots the basketball, it's a corkscrew spin.
Numbers and not necessarily transcended to the intelligence part of the game.
Wow. Isiah Thomas states that what Westbrook does has not translated to the intelligence part of the game. Have I not been telling you, brothers, that this dude lacks in basketball IQ? I've been saying that for years now.
Where you need to really be the quarterback and the leader out on the floor to make your team win.
All right, I find it fitting that later that night, Damian Lillard clinched the series with a 37-foot buzzer beater to eliminate the Thunder. Let me ask you this. Is Westbrook a championship player?
Hell no. What he is the championship talent. I think that Westbrook is really a shooting guard. He's a frustrated shooting guard, but very similar to a Donovan Mitchell. The Lord did not bless him with another 2 or 3 inches of height. If Westbrook had another 2 or 3 inches of height, he'd be probably the best shooting guard in the NBA. And even with his poor outside shooting, he'd probably be the best shooting guard in the NBA because he would put forth more of a concerted effort to improve his jump shooting. Right now, with him running the point guard, he has so many other things to concern himself with that I'm not quite sure that he takes it as seriously as he should, that he's nowhere near the jump shooter that he needs to be for his team to be as successful as they need to be.
Player.
Well, clearly he's not because he hasn't won one yet. Yeah. And I would put he and Harden in the same category.
Brothers, have I not been telling you that James Harden and Russell Westbrook are the same type of player? They're both within the ilk of the LeBron James type. And LeBron James himself I consider to be Oscar Robertson 2.0. When I look at Russell Westbrook and James Harden, I see a couple of players who have to play in a system that caters to them, that allows them to do whatever they want because they cannot play off the ball. Same thing with LeBron James. He cannot play off the ball.
I mean, these are MVPs of our league and have played at MVP level. But when both of them have gotten to the playoffs and it's time to win basketball games and advance to the next level and keep advancing, they haven't done that. And
because they're giving maximal effort in the regular season, so when they get to the postseason, there's not another level for them to ascend to. And then the fact that neither one of them particularly have a high basketball IQ. And when it comes to James Harden, he likes to utilize chicanery more than actual skill. And that's why there's so much disdain for Harden's style of play. And others have mentioned this. The NBA is very clear, does not want Houston to go to the NBA Finals. Why would you? It's already very clear that some of these games, there's been a depreciation or dissipation in the ratings for many of these NBA playoff games. And if the Rockets were to make it to the finals, who the hell's going to watch that? Nobody's going to watch that, especially when their two stars, that being James Harden and Chris Paul, are not necessarily fan favorites because of their style of play and their personalities. They both love to go back and forth with the refs. They both love to flop. And they both love to blame everybody else for a lot of their foibles and their inability to convert in clutch moments in big games. So it's very clear that the NBA does not want the Rockets to make it to the finals. In order for them to do so, they're going to have to play out of their minds.
In order to be champions in this league, Durant left OKC and he went to Golden State, and now he's a champion.
And he was smart to do so.
Steph Curry's a champion. Klay Thompson is a champion. LeBron James.
I mean, they all play on the same team except for LeBron.
But it don't matter. At the end of the day, you have to become a champion.
And the Golden State Warriors team was built organically. So this notion that they're a super team is nonsense.
And if you carry an MVP banner in this league, you got to become a champion. We would not be arguing about Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, being the greatest players ever if they didn't have championship rings on them.
And so Kevin Durant kind of reverse engineered it because he was like, oh, me on that team, we can't not win a championship.
So this is what I'm called timeout on, because...
Call timeout on his ass, Isiah.
Magic, Kareem, James Worthy, Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Bill Walton.
You know why that's not fair?
Michael Jordan.
Isaiah, you know why that's not fair?
All of them have...
You know why that's not fair?
Out of the top 50 players, all of them had 2 to 3 players on their team.
I'm not arguing that.
And so did you, Isiah Thomas. Don't try to act like you didn't. You had Dennis Rodman on your squad. You had Joe Dumars on your squad. You had top 75 to top 100 players in Mark Aguirre and Adrian Dantley on your squad as well. Michael Jordan actually had the least amount of all-time great players on his squad. He only had Pippen and Dennis Rodman. And Dennis Rodman was on the back end.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah. The Warriors were already the Lakers or the Celtics, one of those loaded teams.
No, they were not. That is nonsense. This notion that the Warriors were this super-duper talented team before KD got there, that's a false narrative from the media. And once again, who is it that you're going to side with? Are you going to claim that the Warriors needed KD to beat LeBron, which so many people, including Max Kellerman, have stated? Or are you going to claim that the Warriors were already a super team before KD got there? You can't have it both ways. You can't be a super team and then need an all-time great player just to beat a LeBron James. Unless you're trying to say that LeBron James is the greatest winner ever, which we know he is not.
Say what?
That would be... Hold up. They won 73 games. They won a championship the year before.
They were 73-9.
Right.
And got beat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
In Game 7.
What? Time out. They got beat by LeBron James down 3-1.
Yep.
They got beat by LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and also the NBA front office led by Adam Silver. And on top of that, it seemed like somebody placed a hex on the Warriors. I've never seen a team have so many bad things happen to them consecutively down the stretch of that series. I mean, it was unbelievable. Andrew Bogut goes down, and Andre Iguodala gets hurt, and Harrison Barnes, he can't hit the broadside of a barn, and Steph Curry is hobbling up and down the damn basketball court. It was incredible. That's not even to mention Draymond.
Yep.
So they had a great regular season.
Yep.
But they lost.
They won the championship the year before.
Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Durant. And Draymond Green.
And Iguodala back then.
And they had a great regular season. Okay, now, what stamped them is when Kevin Durant came.
Absolutely. That's what made them a super team. Thank you, sir. And that's what I've stated myself previously.
Because, hey, if Durant doesn't join that team, it is safe to say that they don't beat Cleveland again.
Thank you, sir. I've said the same thing. Hey, Isiah Thomas, welcome to the channel, man. Thank you, sir. I've been saying that. The psychological hold that the Cleveland Cavaliers had over the Golden State Warriors after that 2016 finals cannot be underestimated. There's no way in the world that the Warriors come back and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2017 if they do not add KD, and they knew it. They knew it. They all knew it. That's why Steph Curry joined the retinue of players that went to meet up with Kevin Durant in the Hamptons, because he knew it. He understood that there was a psychological and spiritual hold that the Cavaliers would have had over the Warriors. I don't think that they ever would have beat them again had they not added KD.
Hold on for a second.
And Max, don't interrupt this point because this is not about you. You and I have gotten into this point. This is about me getting at Isiah. Let's not forget to mention the stimulus package that the NBA gave the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, very similar to the stimulus package that your makeup artist gives you a hairline. I mean, come on, brother.
That LeBron James Cleveland championship year, because not only was Golden State up 3-1, they had won game 4. The game that LeBron got into the tussle. Draymond Green got hurt. Got the stimulus package.
What's the stimulus package?
They suspended Draymond Green for game 5. They suspended him for game 5. That was the same game Iguodala and Bogan got hurt. I mean, come on. Let me not forget that, Isiah. Stop it, man. You know it.
Even in the park, whether it's Philadelphia, Detroit, or Chicago, you kick somebody there, you gotta go.
Shit, gotta go. You kick the wrong person in the nuts in the park, your ass might get shot.
You gotta go.
He didn't kick him there. He kicked Steven Adams there in the playoffs. He didn't kick LeBron James.
Now they arguing over who Draymond kicked in the nuts. Come on. If you have to argue over who someone kicked in the nuts, that means that person has a serious problem. There's no doubt in my mind, Draymond Green had and still has to a degree a mental issue. He was kicking numerous players in the nuts throughout that 2016 playoff run. And then got to the finals and just flailed at LeBron James' nuts. I mean, come on, man.
LeBron knocked him to the floor. Come on, Z. Come on.
It was the threat of kicking him there.
Listen, the whole NBA, that's true. The threat of it, that's legit. That's legit. Just to even think about it, you're right. But the NBA, even the league office still laughs at me about that. Because every time I see him, I say that damn stimulus package because in game 5, they were supposed to go out in 5.
There was no doubt in my mind that Draymond was going to get suspended after that shit.
There wasn't supposed to be a game 6 or 7, and you know it, Z. At least mention that.
Okay, I will mention. Okay, they got the stimulus package.
All right, thank you.
Imagine how different history would be in the NBA had the Warriors been able to close out the Cleveland Cavaliers in 5 games. Maybe KD does not sign with them. Maybe KD goes to Boston. And then you have a KD versus LeBron dynamic in the Eastern Conference for the next 2 years.
Even there, you still up 3-1, baby.
I
you gotta close that. You gotta
remember,
Iguodala
and Bogan got hurt in game 5. Iguodala and Bogan got hurt in game 5.
I got hurt in game 6 of the NBA Finals.
Thankfully, you're bringing that up, Isiah Thomas, because let me say this. I don't hear any excuses getting made for these previous teams in the antiquity of the NBA like they try to make for the modern history of these teams in the NBA, in the finals for when they lose. Oh, well, you know, it's because this person and that person and LeBron lost because of this person getting hurt. You know how many championships have been lost because somebody went down in game 3 or game 4 or game 2? Magic Johnson pulled his hamstring severely in the 1989 NBA Finals. Nobody mentions that. Nobody talks about that. You just have to deal with it. I mean, at the end of the day, when we start to scrutinize championships, yeah, we could say the Golden State Warriors, they suffered a bevy of injuries to their most important players in the 2016 NBA Finals, but they lost. At the end of the day, they lost. And it started in Game 3 in Cleveland when Steph Curry seemed to have been in a zombie state. I'll never forget the look on his face on the sideline. Even Steve Kerr commented about it at the end of the game. I don't know if somebody turned Steph all the way down or called him up and gave him some type of trigger word that made him shut down. Who the hell knows? But he was just not right in that game. Game 4, he had a better game, but that's when you had the Draymond Green situation. And had they been focused for all 4 games, they should have won that series, but should have does not count.
Hey!
I didn't complain.
You got hurt, dropped 30-25 in the third quarter. But that game 7, you couldn't go because you were hurt.
Yeah, and Magic put on the ring, and that summer he was laughing at me talking about Zeke, my man. How you doing? I was like, man, get out my face. I don't want to hear that.
All right, on that note, let's get it.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. It's just interesting to see that Isiah Thomas is going to address Russell Westbrook in that manner. And it's obviously because people are starting to understand who Russell Westbrook is. And it's not an indictment on him as a basketball player. He's just the action star of the NBA. He's not someone who's going to win. And he knows that. He figured that out a while ago. That's when he embraced the concept of the triple-double. Because he knows deep within his subconscious that he's not a championship level player. He's not willing to truly sacrifice his own personal glory for the sake of making his team a championship contender. If it means that Russell has to average 18, 8, and 8 for his team to become a championship level team, he's not willing to do that. He'd rather average 23, 11, and 11, break Oscar Robertson's record for triple doubles, and go down in history as a triple double man. And you know what? Hey, it is what it is. God bless him. So peace.